So welcome to a preview of the Time Greyhound Nutrition 3 Steps to Victory competition for 2025. We're joined by our sponsor, Willie Rigney from Time Greyhound Nutrition, very kindly sponsoring the competition for a third year. So welcome to Willie. And we're also joined by Andrew Mascarenas, the Director of Racing at Allerton Stadium. And first of all, welcome, Willie. Great, and thanks so much for your support again for this very unique competition.
It is indeed. It's an intriguing competition, and we're glad to be associated. It's our third year now associated with this particular competition. Our sponsorship goes back to when our time of gain, I suppose, with Sheffield. We have a long association with it, and it's a good area for us, and great patronage up there. Competition itself, it is quite intriguing in that it's the 3 steps. So, it takes a certain type of dog and at the end of the day, a good quality dog to come through those 3 different distances.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, obviously the 480 for the first round, 6 heats of the 480 this coming Sunday, which is obviously live at the stadium and on the Premier Greyhound Racing Service. And then we move on to the semi-finals over the 500-meter trip, and then the final over 660 meters. So it's the first 3 qualifying from the 480s to the 500s, and then it's that tough 3 semi-finals. Only 2 qualifying, so there's always going to be a few hard luck stories in the semi-final, and then on to the final over the 660 meters. And I understand you're going to be with us for finals day for the 660 final in 2 weeks' time.
Well, I will indeed. Yeah, we're there for the final of 660 meters. Well, I said it's an intriguing competition in that I suppose it brings out the strengths of the whatever dog will win it, or those that get to the final, and that they have to have a bit of early, obviously get through the first couple of rounds, and obviously stamina as well. And then in the final round as well, they'll get to express all their merits,
Yeah, absolutely, and it's been a good competition, Andrew. We were oversubscribed. I believe we had 41 entries for the 36 slots that are available.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, we actually had 42, but one was pulled off lame just before we started going through the entries. But yeah, I was impressed and grateful that the trainers have entered for this year's competition. It's always good to be able to subscribe. It gives the office a little bit of a headache, but hopefully we've made the right choices in our decision for the final 36, and best of luck to our connections starting on this Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously it's quite a warm weekend weather-wise, both here in the UK and over in Ireland, and we're all ready for that warm weather on Sunday, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, like all tracks, will be running the GBGB hot weather policy, so be shortened parades obviously on Sunday. We'll still hope to do the Meet the Stars race. The public get to meet the greyhounds, but other than that, it's following the hot weather policy for the GBGB, what they've set their guidelines to.
Yeah, right. Betting from our friends at Breadsbet, they've priced up. Wicky Ned is at the top of the pile. Loves it here at Sheffield. You were sponsors of the Northern Flat last year, which he won up at Newcastle. But any big standout runners in the lineup?
I know. Listen, obviously Wicky Ned is well entitled to be there at the mantle of favouritism. I'm intrigued to see what Jimmy says about him staying the distance, and obviously. He thinks he will. He's a dog that intrigues me. He's very, very good. He's a dog with an affinity to, in that he came from the town where I was, and I missed out buying him. Jimmy stole the show on me and got him. And he's a gentleman of an owner there as well. And I'd be delighted if they could go all the way in it. Looking down through it there, I mean, say you have some strong bits of form there in that from Mark Wallace's dogs, and you also have Tommy Helleburn, and be it some of them hadn't the best of luck in the draws. There's some nice form out off the back of the Derby.
That's right. Well, we are going to be talking a little later on to Jimmy Fenwick, so I will pose the question for you about his thoughts on will Wicky Ned stay the 660 meters, and we're also going to have a chat with Mark Wallace, and Mark's got quite a strong hand. And Newing Cloud is the pick of the runners, second favourite at the moment. But I
had him marked up, but a dog that's kind of interesting with me there as well. With some local knowledge, Sean Davies, very elegant there. Is a dog has been over the distance, and I see him. So he obviously is a dog he has picked as well,
Absolutely. So that's good. And if we had to put you on the spot and gave you some money to put on the for the outright competition? Where would the Wrigley Millions be going?
Let me look into it here. Obviously, Ricky Ned would have to be there. Uh, a dog that of Mark Wallace's table topper. You'd have to put him into the reckoning. He has nice bits of form there in Toaster in the Derby. And then, although in the same heat, Ted Soppett's the Sunnyside Broxy, the runner-up in the Derby last year, wasn't he? I think that dog. And he that dog, I think, could go a long way in it as well. Like, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, myself and Andrew are going to go through the heats in a few moments' time. But I must admit there is some very hot heats in the first round. Both heats 5 and 6 are absolutely both mouth watering affairs, and there is going to be some hard luck stories come out of those heats.
They will indeed. Why won't there? Like, you know what I mean? Of all the heats, like you have, I suppose in the last heat, the three inside dogs, and maybe four inside dogs, and heat five, the three outside dogs. You know what I mean? It's be interesting with them, like, you know, in particular in those two heats, like, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, just so Andrew, just while we're talking about the anti-post market, anything that stands out that you're quite excited to see?
I think everybody's rightly pointing to Wiki Ned after what he's done here at Sheffield. Jim Crouch, Still City, coming for one-offs, dipping inside the clock in the sprint trial as well. He could have drawn an easier heat, but if it stays, I expect it's still a very sparkling run. But if it stays, it's stepping into the unknown. I quite like the look of one of Matt Wallace's dogs, Kilmore Dancer. Looking at its form, it seems to lack a little bit of middle pace, but it does seem to stay out the trip strong over the 500. And it's still posting decent times with trouble as well. So I think that might be a little dark horse, that one, Kilmore Dancer.
Yeah, I must admit, Wicked Ed is a standout. Runs Sheffield very, very well. I thought Savannah Jackpot could be an interesting runner. Has got form around Sheffield, and could be an interesting runner for Diane Henry. And of course, Diane knows what to do or what is necessary to win the Three Steps competition, which she won a few seasons back, which was obviously well there. But just your. But Willie, you are going to be with us on finals day, and I know that you often like to talk to trainers and speak to people locally and tell us about the things that Time can do and can offer. Obviously, you've got the Time Greyhound Nutrition Club, which I've joined. It's free to enter. It's really a really good initiative put forward by the guys at the Time.
It is indeed, yeah. I'll be there on finals day, and anyone wants to meet and have a chat with us, we'll have maybe a little bit of food and a drink or whatever. But then want to discuss nutrition or want to discuss usage of our products. But in particular, the Time Club, we can't tell people enough about this. In that, first and foremost, it's free to join. As you say, it's an idea where we come up. It's like a loyalty card, really. When you do sign, you get a voucher for 2 bags. Purchase 2 bags, and you get a bag free. Likewise, then when you breed a litter, you get a voucher when you're a member of a Time Club. Buy 2 bags, get a bag free of your puppy and sapling or food of your choice. Certain competitions, not necessarily race competitions, we may run during the year as well. You'll get a voucher, you'll be free into those as well. And indeed, then the one I suppose that's we're very, very aligned to and trying to do a good bit of work with GBGB and a few more there is we have when a dog is retired, those people will get a slip as such that qualifies them for get 2 bags and one free, buy 2 bags and get one free, and for the relevant dog going on being retired. So basically, what it is, it's a loyalty card that's where there's going to be concessions through the life size and lifestyle of the dog as it goes along from if it's in infancy the whole way through to retirement, you know, and. We'd like, hopefully, we'd discuss with anybody, but if they go in just onto our website and sign up, it's very, very simple. Once you sign up, then you get your number. And Shane actually looks after all that. He was here a few minutes ago. He looks after all that. You get your voucher out and away you go. And you get your discounted bag or your discounted quantity of food for your dog. And obviously, we'd be hoping to get some new customers through it, but also likewise, it's a reward for those people that are loyal and doing business with us as well, like, you know. So we'll be rolling that out as well, and anyone wants to talk to us on the day or talk to myself, it's going to be myself on the day about the Time Club, and I'd be encouraging everybody to join as best they can. throughout the year, then maybe later on we will have time club competitions, as I said, but maybe even on the track, and we would consider just confining them to people that are time club members.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. Well, anybody that is interested, if you go to the website, which is timenutrition.ie, click on the Time Club button. I think it's the top corner of the screen. Then you can fill out your details, and I'll make sure that on the bottom of the screen that there is the details, so people can click on the link and then go through and find out a little bit more about that information. But
and indeed, just come in on that. If anyone has a problem with it, just contact myself or Shane, namely Shane, and he'll register them up if they have an issue about getting themselves registered, or a problem with it, we'll register them up and get. We're anxious to get as many people that are patrons of ours, and hopefully new patrons of ours. It's costing nothing. That's the main thing about it. There's no catch penny with it. It's costing nothing.
Brilliant. That's great. Well, Willie, thanks ever so much for your time. We might, if you've got time next week, we'll maybe have a little chat about the semi-finals, and we can review the first round next week. And we look forward to welcoming you at Sheffield on the 6th of July on finals day. And we're really looking forward to a fantastic renewal of the Time Greyhound Nutrition 3 Steps to Victory competition.
Yeah, that's no problem. You're most welcome, and I'll have a look at them on Sunday. We're on the replays of them, and we'll have a bit of analysis of that. And listen, well done again to Sheffield and Andrew and yourself on a very, very good entry. Nice cross section of dogs there. Great patronage, and the best luck to all the participants, and hopefully the cream comes to the top. And we'll talk next week.
That's great. Thanks ever so much, Willie. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks.
We'll just go through the 6 heats of the Time Greyhound Nutrition 3 Steps to Victory. Heat number 1, race number 7 on Sunday's card, due off at 4:24. So, Andrew, as you said, it was difficult to whistle down to the 36 entries that we do have turning out on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it was difficult. I mean, it's never nice to turn connections away when they've made the effort. Maybe they've been trialing as well, and they get overlooked. But I think the 36 choices we've made are the correct ones, and I'm hoping for a good competitive competition, and hopefully some sparking ones out of them as well.
Okay, so let's just have a very quick look. There we go. So there is heat number 1. Obviously, I did notice there's only 4 wide runners in the entire competition, which obviously we know that there are problems, or there's not as many wide runners as maybe racing officers would like within racing. But obviously, Ballymac Camilla, being a middle seed, has drawn the stripes. And is the only seat. All the others are railers in this first heat.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and maybe a little bit concerning. Ballymac will actually hit the rail in its 480 trial, so it'll definitely be edging in probably at the start as well. But like you said, there's not many wide runners about. One of the entries what didn't get in was a wide runner, but we didn't go for that one. But yeah, a lot of railers in the competition, but of all different paces. So hopefully, you should see some dogs getting away and other dogs tucking in behind. So hopefully it won't cause too much of an issue.
Yeah, exactly. And then any stand out. Obviously, the other boss looks pretty good. Will be standing up pretty strongly for Carol Weatherall on the inside. Any real stand-up performances from this first heat that you see?
I probably expect your Legend to win that 16-19 sprint. It's a D1 run. I expect it to cut loose early doors. I don't think it'll be caught. And then it's whatever will pick up the second and third positions, but I would expect your Legend to take that heat.
So I was impressed with the way that Loxley's Forest ran on Sunday. The Jason Gray runner was finishing pretty strongly and did break pretty well, considering he got that bump at the first bend.
Yeah, it's run well in both open races it's had here in 660. Only a few lengths behind Very Elegant, which is in fantastic form for Sean Davey, and only a length behind our Malachian. So it has took to the track well. It should get a very nice run if Geo Legend does what it should be doing. Tuck in behind and being very sharp qualifying for the 500 metre semi-final.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously Ballymac Camilla, finalist in the 3 steps the 3 step, we've done that 3 step, was a finalist in the Queen Mother Memorial Cup earlier in the year.
It was, yeah. So it's got the quality there. Before it might be a little bit concerned for the connections, but it's certainly a quality greyhound, and likes it around Sheffield as well, which is always a bonus.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the first of those heats. First three qualifying to the semi-finals, obviously over the 500-meter trip. We'll just take a look at the second heat. So the second heat with two local runners, Marfield Oscar and Very Elegant. Very Elegant was a very impressive winner over 660 back on the couple of Sundays ago on the 8th of June for Sean Davey. I know Willie mentioned Very Elegant's chances, and is probably the leading local runner.
It is. It's a nice bit of form at the right time as well for Sean. I mentioned it in the Racing Post article, what we did as well, which went out on Tuesday. So hit a nice bit of form for Sean at the right time. Definitely stays, which is evident in the Six Bend Open it had. I did consider putting in an S1 before it won that open race as well. So I think them days are now gone. But yeah, I expect Sean to have another qualifier there. Mark Wallace's new in car looks pretty handy as well. And maybe Brinkley's Louis on the outside. Looks like it's got a bit of early toe. For Tom Hildren should be out on its own as well, being the sole wide seed as well. So I'd probably say 4, 5, and 6 would probably qualify from that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, New in Cloud has had a really good competition down at Monmore earlier in the a couple of last month now. It was and then was out on finals night behind Romeo Empire, and obviously Patrick Jansen's had a fantastic Derby finals night, and New in Cloud came up against one of his hotter runners. But I think should have a good run, and as you said, the wide runner Brinkley's Louis looks to be one of the standout performers on the card, or on the wider outside. So we'll just have a very quick look at the third of the heats. Couple of interesting runners. Kilmore Dance is probably the standout performer. The Mark Wallace runner in the Blue of Two. Droopy's Extra Good 2024 Jim Crack finalist at Sheffield. So does run the track pretty well. Has been running over the four bends the last couple of weeks. Will probably be better suited over the longer distances, I think. But I think if Droopy's Extra Good can stay out of trouble, we'll be finishing pretty strongly at the business end of the race.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Rob. Droopy's Extra Good has been against good Nick last twice. I'm going to want to Sean Davies actually, so it's been up against it. Well, as I said, it made a Jim Crop final last year. I'd expect it to qualify along with Kilmore Dancer, and then I don't think there's much between maybe 5 and 6. And the two outside runners again. Jason Gray had a good winner, 500 last week, but Pin All In has got some decent form. It actually hacked up at Yarmouth in an A1 as well. It's won a Six Bend Open at Yarmouth as well, so it looks a bit.
So it looks like
it's not had a look round Sheffield, which might be a little bit of concern, but it's got some decent form.
Yeah, no, definitely, and might be interesting. But Loxley's Troy really smashed the lids on Sunday, and led out. I know Jason was really impressed with the way that Loxley's Troy performed in that race on Sunday, and should be an interesting run, like you said, between those two on the outside. So Tom Helbron's got a couple of runners on the inside. Flying Desire, a greyhound I know pretty well, A1 form down at Perry Bar. I often get to commentate Flying Desire's races on a Saturday night. But I thought Arthur Minute might have a pretty good chance for Pat Godfrey. Maybe a little bit of a price here. But obviously new in DJ, the Mark Wallace runner, and Timmy's Hunter for Pat Curtin in the Stripes of 6.
Yeah, Timmy's on his chart very well. 500 and his 480 were both very good runs, actually. Seems to have took to the track well. New in DJ's got some good form. I think this is probably one of the most open heats. I think Claude Rose has got open winning form around here before as well. I mean, Patrick Godfrey's making a bit of a journey to get to us, so we must fancy his chances to go long in the competition. So I think it's quite an open heat, this one. But I mean, Timmy's Hunter has trialled very well. Took the track very well at Sheffield.
Always good to see the likes of Pat Godfrey and some of the trainers that do have to travel a fair distance to come to us at Sheffield. It's always heartening to see that they do come and support the races that we do have.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it's much appreciated. I mean, that's why we put big competitions on, to try and attract the best dogs, and it's very important for trainers to put the effort in, the long effort, long journeys, and support us.
Yeah. So, talking of long journeys, in our next heat, we've got Carrickfergie for Gary Hamilton. Travels down from Scotland rather regularly to Sheffield, but this is a really hot heat. Wiki Ned, obviously the anti-post favourite, is in this heat. Runs Sheffield ever so well. Carrickfergie has been ran pretty well down at Nottingham in the last couple of weeks, and now switching back up to running here at Sheffield, but does have winning form back from the end of April. It's a mouth watering, and you've got Clona Curley, obviously Clona Curley, the Diane Henry runner. Form over further does run Sheffield pretty well, so it's a real mouth watering heat.
Yeah, it's a fantastic heat, and obviously all eyes are going to be on rightly on Wiki Ned because of what he's done at Sheffield with the gym crack in the Still City, and he's an absolute class dog, and so it is a hard heat. Carrickfergie has trialled well. I mean, Gary spoke probably a month or so ago that he was eyeing a 6-man competition up for it, and this is the one he's obviously had in mind as well. So that's a very interesting runner, but it is a very difficult heat, this one. I mean, Ted Topping's dogs has been running well as well. Absolutely hacked up at Nottingham, didn't it? Against Mox's Troy, which I believe won here last week, was it?
Yes, yeah. So
that's good form. It beats it by 6 lengths, so it's obviously very capable. So
Yes, and you know the likes of Clona Curley is going to be finishing pretty strongly, and just will need to navigate the field.
I mean, it's running a few times. Clona Curley, Diana supports this competition as well, so she seems to do well. I think it's Savannah Volcano won a few years ago as well, so it's one she targets, and hopefully she'll go far in the competition.
Yeah, so if you had to put your colours to the mast and pick the 3 out to qualify from this heat, you can pick. It's any 3 from the 6. Let's be fair, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, if you want to push me, I'll go 4, 3, 5.
Okay.
Tentatively, 4, 3, 5.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go 4, 6, and 2. There we go for this one. So I thought Raspberry Kate ran pretty well last week. On Sunday was 4 lengths behind Good Nick, who does run the 500 and the 480 really quite well. And I think if the gaps appear, I think Raspberry Kate could be, and we'll grab the rail because Farney's mate isn't the quickest of runners on the inside. Okie dokie. So our final heat is heat number 6, another mouth-watering runner. We've got Sunnyside Broxy's in 1 for this one, Table Toppers in 2. I know we mentioned Table Toppers, so that was one that Willie liked the look of. Savannah Jackpot's form over further, so the further Savannah Jackpot gets into the competition, the more chances he would have. We've got Chelm's Bear in 4 for Craig Morris, Savannah Regimental and Raysbury Angel in 6. Another mouth-watering heat.
It is, yeah. Obviously, Chelm's Bear just moved Callan to Craig Morris, a very fast dog when it was Seamus. Table Toppers, its little brother's actually running a D3 on the same day at Sheffield. So for Scott Davis.
Oh, right.
So yeah, it's an interesting heat. I mean, Ted Toppett's Sunnyside Broxy is one of its last 2 open races. Very, very capable dog. So it's the last 2 heats are very good heats, and they're more difficult to kind of decide what you think will go through. I would say everything's got a chance in the last 2 heats.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm sure there will be when we look at when we review the first round and look at the semi-finals, there will be hard luck stories coming through, which is always the problem in these big competitions.
It is, yeah. But hopefully, I mean, as long as we get the end result, a good final. I mean, that's what we're aiming for. So, yeah, hopefully, I think Sunday's racing should be a good affair. Looking forward to some good runs. Whether just Pop will go, so we'll get cuts loose, maybe we'll see. But we'll find out Sunday, won't we?
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, well, great. Andrew, thanks ever so much for your time. We're going to
No
have
problem,
a
Rob.
very quick chat with Mark Wallace in a moment or two's, and then a little talk with Jimmy Fennick a little bit later on. So we'll be interested to see what they fancy if they're runners for Sunday. But a really mouth-watering prospect ahead.
Right, thank you, Rob. Thank you.
So I'm here with a 15-time champion trainer, Mark Wallace, and of course, Mark knows what it takes to win the Three Steps to Victory competition, having won it with Patches Kerry back in 2016. First of all, Mark, thanks very much for your time. I know you're really busy down at Imperial Kennels, and of course, welcome. But it's a very unique competition, the Three Steps. You've won some big competitions up and down the country, but the Three Steps is quite unique.
Yes, hi Rob. Yeah, the three steps it's a one-off really. You know, three different distances, and I think it adds a bit of variety and spice in the calendar. And there's quite a few trainers that would sort of have this competition in mind. Way back perhaps in January and February. So some dogs are specifically laid out for it. Others, maybe, let's have a go sort of thing. And we got a dog that might be able to do all three distances. And I think that's where we are at the moment. I only really decided to enter these, last week, to be honest with you, after the Derby had finished. And I thought, well, we've got two really good competitions on in the Coronation Cup at Romford and the Three Steps. I do think it's a shame that the two clash really, because you could quite easily have some of the dogs that are in the Coronation Cup would certainly be suited to the Three Steps, but looking at the overall entry of both competitions, thankfully both have been oversubscribed, I do believe. So I mean, we basically split our team. I looked at this and I thought, where could we've got six dogs that are all capable of being in either competition really. So or sorry, I should say seven dogs, because in the end I decided to put four at Sheffield and three at Romford. The main one was New Destiny really. She could have done the Three Steps, she would have been ideal for it, but we thought it's best if she tried to defend her crown in the Coronation Cup. So that's the reason why she's at Romford.
Yeah, well, it's always difficult, and obviously you know what it takes to win the competition. Do you think it's do you primarily look for a stayer that can get through the rounds, or do you look for maybe a faster bend dog that you think, I hope will stay over six bends when we get to that final? Which sort of way do you look at it, or is it just a case of horses for courses?
Yeah, but that's a tough question, really, Rob. But the way I look at it, you could, again, there's three different ways of looking at it. One, you need, say, a proven stayer, and I think we've got that in New Cloud, who's been sort of runner-up in two big Category 1 competitions. You've also got, say, the Romford type ones that have already, say, won 575, so they've got enough early 480 and 500 meters, and possibly we'll get that 665. And then you've got some complete unknowns that are waiting to step up in trip, and you're taking it on trust that if they got to the final, they would then stay the 6-5. Is it 665? Isn't it 665?
660.
660. Sorry, yeah, 660. You're hoping that they would stay that 660. We've got that with two dogs in particular, and Table Toppers, who won the Blue Ribbon back in sort of January, early February, and he's sort of primarily been based in four bend competitions, and then took in the Derby. To be honest with you, he's been waiting to step him up in trip for quite a while, and I would normally go down the Romford 575 route to start with. That's always been a big favourite of ours. It's sort of a nice sort of little step up, and then you maybe go to the 630 at Monmore, and then if they look like they're carrying on staying even further, then you can take in the 660s and the 710s sort of thing. Like, yeah. So
the 575 at Romford is almost like a soft six bends. It's like a soft.
It is. Yeah, the thing with Table Toppers is he's a 37 kilo dog. and he's quite a big lump sort of thing. And I didn't really want to go to Romford with him. I'm not saying we would never go there. We might, we're going to see how he gets on here. But he's a proven sort of Category 1 class dog. And over 4 bends, so he shouldn't have a problem with the 480 or the 500, which is the sticky point, really. It's not so much the 480, but the 500, because after the first round, only 2 qualify, So
I always feel sorry. I always feel sorry for when it is this format with the 3 from the heats and then only 2 from the semi-final. You always sort of find a couple of very hard luck stories in each of the semi-finals.
Yeah, that's the way it is, and we know that, and it's the same for everybody. So I don't have a problem with that, to be honest with you. I think I'd like the sort of soft 483 get through, and then they've all had a look round and should be used to the track. So if they're good enough, they'll qualify. Yes, you're going to get a hard luck story, one just beating ahead or a short head for second place, and we've had that. I actually thought the best chance we've had of winning that the last few years was a dog called Bombardier, who we were just stepping up in trip, and he won his 480, did a magnificent trial round there, 27.70 or 80 or something, won his heat or something in the 480, and then was so unlucky in the 500 getting knocked out by a tiniest margin. Of course, he since proved that he was quite a really, really good stayer. Won plenty of races over the distance in his time, and I think he would have gone on to win that final, So, but he slipped up on that second leg. I'm not. Was it last year or the year before? We had Crossfield Cora, who came into that mould of a 4-bend dog that was crying out, or 4-bend bitch that was crying out to be stepped up, and she had loads of early, and she went really well to the final. I think she won heat the 480 and the 500, and then she just got touched off in the final by a really good dog of Barry Draper's, and she ran really well to be second. That's the closest we've been since Patches Kerry won it, I do believe. Yeah, and she was the ideal bitch for the 3 steps. She'd already won the Champion Stakes at Romford 575. She won the Golden Jacket, sectionals for the 380 were just incredible, almost inside the 380 track record, 22, 80 and 90 or something like that, and she stayed, that sharp 8 bends as well. So when it came to the 3 steps, we knew once she got to the final, the 660 was going to hold no trouble for her. And she had that early to lead, even from a awkward draw in the middle. She still managed to get round sort of in front, and she was away and gone. And that was
exactly.
But she was class. That tells you about the competition, that you need a Category 1 winner to actually really, definitely a Category 1 type dog that's going to win this. You're not going to win this with just an ordinary open racer, in my opinion. I think the winners over the years, the likes of Ballymac, Esky, and many more that I can't quite think of at the moment, have all been really top class dogs, haven't they?
Absolutely, yeah. No, there's been some fantastic dogs over the years, and it pays tribute and real testimony to the quality that you need to have to win this competition. And obviously it's very unique, as you said, very unique in our calendar of Category 1 competitions, because it's often you see a lot of dual distance Cat 3s, but to have top class dogs win at the highest level over 3 different distances, it's really very, very spectacular to be part of, and obviously on both sides of the aisle type of thing. So
yes, definitely.
Yeah, but if we can, we'll very quickly have a look at your runners. The first year runners comes in the second heat, which is race number 8 on our card at Sheffield, due off at 4:42. You've got Newing Cloud in that, and as you alluded to, Newing Cloud probably needs very, very little introduction. Has been. It's like a proper competition dog. Knows how to get through to finals. Obviously, finalist in the Golden Jacket last month. Oh, it is last month. Yeah, last month down at Monmore, and then obviously earlier in the season, finalist in the Essex Vars at Romford, and there was another, and also the final. did make another final as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
That up at Sunderland at the for the Grand
Yeah,
Prix.
yeah, it was. It was in the final, and he was a very good second string behind Flying New Destiny at the time. Yeah, so yeah, he's a solid stayer. The 710 or 712 at Toaster, that's just a shade too far for him. Like, yeah, 680 is really his limit. He's just about got enough pace. For 480 and 500, only just. He would definitely be dangerous if he did get to the final. Yeah, but he's gonna have to really get lucky and find a clear path to qualify either from the first round or the second round. He wouldn't have in massive four bend pace, like, but he's not bad either, like, yeah. So definitely one, if we did get to the final, he'd absolutely love the trip 665, so but the first round would be his banana skin, if there was one, I would say.
Yeah, no, that's right. But and obviously the drawing 5, not 100% ideal, but it could have been.
He's actually quite good. He's got a good record from Trap 5. I like him in Trap 5, to be honest with you. He seems to like it in between dogs rather than on the outside of dogs. And he's a middle runner really. But as with all middle runners, they either get 5 or 6 these days, don't they? Like, so. But five's not a problem for him at all. We haven't trialled any of our dogs around there, simply because we was involved. All the dogs were involved in the Derby, really, or the Derby Festival, I should say. The only one that didn't run recently was New in DJ. And to be honest with you, because they're all well used to running Toaster, I've always found that Toaster dogs, Sheffield is a not too far dissimilar type track to Toaster, in some kind of way. And if they were coming from, say, a tight track, Romford or something, you'd think they'd find it hard. But they do like the sort of gallopy, sort of big bend type tracks anyway. So, yes.
There are good synergies. And I know talking to the trainers, they always talk about if they can run Sheffield, that generally they'll run Toaster quite well, or normally.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and vice versa. Yeah, so that, I mean, in an ideal world, I normally trial all our dogs at a new place and everything, but just the timing of
but that's often the nature of what racing is like this sort of time of year, where you go literally from one to another to another to another, and it's just the bandwagon rolls on, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Exactly. So the second runner is in heat number 3. That's Kilmore Dancer, being drawn in trap number 2, alongside Droopy's Extra Good, Buddy McAleisha, Stone Park Aber, Loxley's Troy, and Pinall in trap number 6. But Kilmore Dancer did get to the final of the Blue Ribbon start at the start of the year, and has got. I think it's got a pretty fair chance, I must admit, in that heat. How did you see it?
Well, I'll try and be nice to the dog. Yeah. Sometimes he's the most frustrating dog that any trainer can have in the kennel. He has, he has all the pace in the world. He's such a fast dog. But there's definitely a little kink in him somewhere. He's not quite the full ticket. The end of last year, I thought he had an outstanding chance of going a long way in the Derby. He blemished his card slightly at Monmore, which is probably the last time he won, actually. And we're finding it frustrating to get him to win races. A terrific battle on last Saturday with Patrick's dog, Romeo Tomcat. And he just missed out on the Derby plate, but that seems to be the nature of the dog at the moment. It's frustrating. What interests me with this dog was the fact that this is over 3 different starting traps and everything, and that's the kind of thing that might rattle his boat, sort of thing, So it's not one to rely on for sure, but all the pace in the world. I think I'm confident that he'll stay the 660 as well if he did get to the final, and he's got serious 4 bend pace if he used it. And I think another big advantage, if you do get to that 660 final, the rails, the traps are, you literally got 3 or 4 strides and you're on the bend, so it's a massive advantage to be a railer as well, which could suit him as well. So yeah, he's fast. Not worried about not having a look with him, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a positive that he's not been there previously to have a look. So
yeah, he it's difficult to back, but at the same time, you think, how are you gonna keep him out the first 2? He's just got so much pace. It's untrue, but is it the right kind of pace? We're never too sure, sort of thing.
yeah, exactly. So on to the your third runner. That is New In DJ in the 4th heat. That is due off at 5:19 on Sunday afternoon. So New In DJ is drawn in trap number 5. Timmy's Hunter on the outside. Then in trap 4 after minutes, Flying Desire. Sorry. I should know that when I commentate on it at Perry Bar. Clonder Rosie and Brinkley's Betty.
Yeah. I mean, New In DJ, he's a great story with the dog. I mean, he had a serious injury last year when he was running some great dogs, the likes of King Memphis. He was actually up with those kind of dogs and everything, and then he broke a hock badly. It probably only had a 15-20% chance of bringing him back. So, credit to where credit's due. We brought him back, and he's raced quite successfully at Toaster, and I've been waiting for a while. Like I thought, he really needs further. But coming back from such a long time off for an injury, I thought we'd give him at least 8 or 9 races before we did step him up. We've done that now, and I was just going to put him in a 6-bend maiden, not a Romford, because he wouldn't be a Romford type dog either. Somewhere like Monmore or Central Park or something, a 6-bend maiden, because I think he'd definitely stay. Definitely stay a 6:30. That's for sure. So. Has he got the pace and the skill to get through a 480 and 500? Is a big question for him. He hasn't got blistering early. His back straight pace is top class. If we could get him through the first round, he definitely would be worth a second look. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously that 11-month period off, it must be he must have a real soft spot for everyone in the kennel, because you've had to nurse him back to full fitness.
Yes, yeah, like I say, this time last year he looked like one of the stars of the future for the kennel and everything, and it was soul destroying to see him break down at home. No, it was just a racing incident. No, nobody's fault. These things happen, but brilliant to get him back racing, and he won 2 out of his first 3 or 4 races back as well, and he's around a 28.90, 29 dead dog around Toaster. Last year he was a 28.60, 28.70 dog. But I think stamina wise, it's not the injury that's made him slow. It's just that he wants to go further, sort of thing. So yeah, interesting dog, really. Won't be easy getting him through that 480. That's my only doubt, though.
That's this sort of heart in your mouth, fingers crossed type of thing. And then your fourth runner is in the final heat. That's race number 12 on the card at Sheffield. That's due off at 5:57. And you've got table toppers in track number 2. Sunnyside Broxy, Ted Soppett's runner, has been running pretty well at both Monmore and Sunderland on the inside. Savannah Jackpot for Diane Henry, another trainer that knows how to win the 3 steps competition. Chelms Bear for Craig Morris. Savannah Regimental and Raspberry Angel are the runners in that 6th heat.
Yeah, that's a fantastic heat. I mean, the Chelms dog was obviously Barntic Bear when it was trained by Patrick, and that's a track record holder or previous track record holder at Toaster. It's a phenomenal dog when it clicks into gear, though. But it hasn't got a lot of early. That would be one of those dogs that if it did get through the first 2 rounds, would be extremely dangerous in the final. I think 660 would be okay for it. But it's a strong heat. The dog on the inside, ran well in the Derby as well. So it's probably one of the hottest heats of the whole round there. So table toppers, as we've alluded to earlier, proper class for Ben Dog, a Category 1 competition winner at Toaster in the Blue Ribbon. And, we've been waiting for a while to step him up. I mean, he's closely related to, a half brother to Antigua Sugar, which we had some fantastic times with, and won plenty of competitions with her. And we always felt that this dog would mature into a stayer. What better competition to put him in? But I see him more maybe at 6:30 at Monmore for the summer stayers, that kind of competition as well. Like, he seems to have just lost that little bit of early over 4 bends, that blistering early that he had. But he'd certainly be a dog that all the other runners would be sort of fearing over 480 and 500 anyway. And the jury's out whether he'd stay to 660 for sure. But again, he's a railer. That's a big advantage. Shouldn't worry him not having a trial at the track, I don't think. Anyway, he's got the one to clear. Hopeful more than confident. But if we could get through this, I'd be quite happy in the 500 sort of thing. I think that'd be that he'd be then fine sort of thing. And then you'd like to think he could get to the final for the 660.
Yeah. So if this is the $64,000 question, which is your favourite child? Which do you think is going to be the which is your pick of your 4 runners in the 3 steps competition?
I think the 2 definite stayers, New in Cloud, New in DJ, are going to struggle to get through the 480, 500. If they do, they could win. I think Gilmore Dancer he's got some questions to answer. So on that basis, I would put Tabletop as the fact that he's going back to what we were saying originally, to win this, you need a Category 1 winning type dog, and Tabletoppers is a Category 1 winner, winning the Blue Ribbon and been in plenty of other big races sort of thing. I would make him a sort of number 1 hope for this.
Yeah, excellent. And it's a busy weekend for you. You've got the semi-finals of the Silver Salver down at Central Park. Both Bananakill, Liam and the Pavilion team both got through, won their heats really well last Saturday evening into the semi-final. Do you think they've got a good chance in the Silver Salver?
Well, particularly Bananakill Liam, who's absolutely surprised everybody. The rapid progression he's made over the last couple of months in the sprinting world, and he was 1 spot off the track record last week. He just seems to be getting better and better, and he's only a very young dog as well. He's not that far out of puppy status really. So he could turn out to be a true sprinting champion. I mean, we've been blessed with some top class sprinters over the last few years and everything, and he looks in that mould. So hopefully he can continue his good form, and he's the one that they've all got to beat. Pavilion team's a really good backup as well. He's won plenty of races. He seems to have found a track that he likes as well in Central Park. So we wouldn't write him off either.
Yeah, no. Good luck on Saturday. Good luck on Saturday. And Mark, thanks ever so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. And good luck in the whole of the Time Ground Nutrition 3 Steps to Victory.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rob.
So it gives me a chance to welcome Jimmy Fennick, trainer of Wiki Ned and Ballymac Camilla, who are both taking part in this season's 3 Steps to Victory, very kindly sponsored by Time Ground Nutrition. First of all, Jimmy, welcome. Thanks very much for your time today. And how are Ned and Camilla doing?
Yeah, Camilla and Ned's absolutely great form. They tried last Saturday night over the 480. I put Ned in trap 1. I'm not going to say he traps well out of trap 1, but in a competition, you don't know what box you're going to get prior to the draw. So we thought we would put him in trap 1. So if he did come out of trap 1 in the heat, at least he's been out of trap 1 and he knows what's happening, So, it's different traps, different pair positions. So there's a lot you got to take in consideration when you're entering for these races. So we thought put him in 1 and Camilla in 4. Camilla's probably once I sat in the track in 3 or 4, she actually tried really well, come away really well, and it was a good trial. It was competitive, and Ned won by just over 4 lengths in the trial, but going the trip, he had extended that to about between 6 and 7. So it was a good trial. He hasn't had a lot of trials really since the Derby. He got knocked over, and there's a few things which he just had to put right with him and get him back to full shape, and then we'll give him a sprint trial, and he equaled the track record in a sprint trial. So when you had him nearly in a good place, and this competition's come up at Sheffield, and looking back through his career, you watch him running on down the home straight and going well clear the trip in each of these competitions. There's a lot of shrewd people saying to me, when are you going to put that dog over 6 bends, And so, what I was on this competition, as long as it's been there, it's just how we're fared in the Derby and what happened in the Derby, whether we took this in consideration, and obviously getting eliminated in the first round and what happened to him. It's come about, and we're gonna give it a crack.
Yeah, no, that which is good, and we know that Wicked Ed runs Sheffield ever so well from his exploits last year in the gym, in the Brisbane Gym Crack and the Brisbane Steel City Cup. I was talking to Carl Perry a little bit earlier on when we looked at the when I was looking through before making this video, the anti-post market, and they do have Wicked Ed as the anti-post favourite for the competition, and I think he's still paying off that bonus out of his every month from his salary.
I think Carl can cover that quite comfortable. I think he's he's all right, Carl. It was nice to win the bonus last year, and he had a great year last year. This year hasn't really worked for Wicked Ed really. He come out at Sheffield, won his race back, and then not the best runs in the juvenile. And obviously bad run in the first round of the Derby, which eliminated him, you see. So, this part of the year, he hasn't really got going, but let's hope things change for him this weekend at Sheffield. So
yeah, no, that's good. That's good. So we'll just very quickly look at the two heats you're involved in. Obviously, heat number 1 is Ballymac Camilla's heat, which is the first of the heats, due off at 4:24 on Sunday afternoon. Drawn in 6, maybe not 100% ideal, but with so few middle and wide runners, it was. And there seems to be abundance of the railers in the field. So Ballymac Camilla drawn in 6, but was a finalist in the Queen Mother Memorial Cup earlier in the season. So does know how to do the business at Sheffield.
She does, and she's a very, very talented bitch. On a day she's done some fast times around Newcastle. She's gone around Newcastle in 28:20 on good going, which is a fabulous run, and she's won the invitation on All-Ireland Cup final night in 28:46. She's won Opens over 6 bends, won a semi-final in the Queen Mother Cup, and she's very talented. When she gets it right, she's very, very talented. So obviously Arthur Job in Trap 5 you would say that he's a real bang railer in 5. So and it's getting across that first bend, so she could be in a good position if she can stay on the outside. What you wouldn't want to do is try to dive in at the first bend if that's the case, because like everything else, it could be a little bit trouble on the inside with all them railers wanting the same space.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Hopefully she can get a clear run round, and like every competition, it's always nice to win, but no gold medals in the first round. You want to be qualifying if you can't win.
Absolutely. So yeah, but that is the first heat. So with the other boss in 1, Senator Mac in 2, Gilo Legends in 3, Bloxy's Forest in 4, Arthur Job in 5, with Ballymac Camilla in trap number 6. So for the others, and it's one of there's some really hot heats in the first round of this season's Tug Round Nutrition 3 Steps to Victory. Heat number 5 is very much one of those hot heats, of which Wicked Ed drawn in 4. With Carrick Fergie, who knows how to bang out on the inside, on his inside, and Clona Curley's going to be finishing pretty strongly on the outside. But what are your thoughts about the draw in this first round?
So when I seen the draw and obviously seen Trap 4, it's a box where at Sheffield before when he's ran there, he's kind of like from the 500 metre boxes. If he's been drawn 3 or 4, he's kind of like just moved a little bit in towards the rails. So in that race there, looking at it, he's gonna have to be on his toes, Rob. You know, he can't make any mistakes at the traps because he's gonna have to be on his toes. Obviously found his maiden one, good solid dog, and the bitching two ways with Katie. Obviously, we know this bitch from Newcastle. Got a great start on her. Can do 28, 30s, 40s at Newcastle, so she's very capable of coming up and doing a real good run in two. The dog in three is in fantastic form. He won at Sheffield, won at Nottingham in a very, very fast trial in time in a race, and trials at Sheffield in 27:59, which was a great run.
Yeah.
Watched the trial that day and it was very impressive on the day. Ned's got to do everything right in trap 4, got to come away, and he's got his sectional time where he's done a 3:14 the other day. He has done a 3:05 down, so he would be needing to do that 3:05 to get first run at the first bend, because he will go at the rails at the first bend, as we know. So he's got to do everything right from trap 4. But it's a competition. You're going to get good oppositions and dogs that's running really good. You can't make mistakes. You've got to get it right, even in the first round. Dog in trap 5, which is Ted's dog, which is a really, really fast dog as well. Some good times at Tralee, good times at Limerick. Trial well at Newcastle. He's done 28:52. Won an open at Nottingham recently, so his form is very good. And Corona Curley's a very, very talented dog. Can run 480, second in the ledger. So we know that he stays all right. So he'll be wanting stake his claim as well. So it's a good heat, very good heat. But if Nick can get it right at the traps, he'll have every chance, if not to win, to qualify and be there for the semi-final. You see.
Yeah, exactly. And as I alluded to a little bit earlier on, I'm asking this question on behalf of Willie Rigney from Time Ground Nutrition, our sponsor on the night. You think that? Do you think that Wicked Ned will stay the 660 meters?
Robert's unknown what he's going to do over 6 bends. He's done all his running really over 480 and 500 meters. But if you watch his races through his career, if you go back through the Sheffield races, the Newcastle races, when he's coming down that home straight, he's travelling at some pace. And by the time he gets to the trip in Newcastle, he's always in front. If he's not, he needs extending really from them 40 races from the trip. The trial against Camilla on Saturday was really just to give us a bit as a guide. If she was mowing him down and run past him after 480, 500 meters, you would be, you'd be suspecting that does he really get any further than the 500 meters. But she couldn't mark him really, Robin. She's a good yardstick, but we know that she stays. So, we've got every confidence that if he, whether he has to do it from the front to stay that distance, maybe the case. Coming from behind on that distance, maybe not be an option for him. We might be after doing it from the front, But if you can do 15:65 in a sprint round Sheffield, you've got every chance of doing it from the front, So it's a case that it's unknown, but us knowing the dog and what he's done in the past and how he's ran, from last bend to the trip when he's won them competitions against, proper greyhounds, it's we think that he'll get the trip.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Well, Jimmy, thanks ever so much for your time today. Good luck on Sunday afternoon with both Ned and Camilla, and we look forward to hopefully getting through to later in the competition and semi-finals and then the finals at the start of July. But thanks ever so much, Jimmy.
Yeah, no, it's a great competition. It's nothing. It's a three distances, and if you've got to get through the first round first, and then once you've got through the first round, you can look to see what happens the next time. And then, I guess I'll say it's a bit unknown on Ned, but we've got every faith in the dog. He doesn't let us down. So
great stuff. Thanks ever so much, Jimmy, and I look forward to seeing you on Sunday.
See you on Sunday.
Thanks.